click on that one now. Right, bear with me. I'm just going to we can take the mute off because there's only a few of us, so it's not a problem. So feel free to unmute yourself for the people who are muted.
For your one-off courses and for your short things, how did you pick which topics were free topics and which ones were worth charging for?
Yeah, so some of that was a little bit trial and error, and sometimes, so with quite a few of my courses, the free one leads up to the main topic. So for example, I've got a course which is all about so I've got one on digestive health, and it sort of goes through how people can make dietary changes, the effect that exercise has, and some different herbs that people can try for different conditions. So it's sort of a bit of a general kind of one all about the digestive system. So that one's the paid for version. So what I did is I created my 3 herbs for sorry, my computer is just doing something. So I created 3
herbs that are good for digestion.
Yeah, it's I think I did it more specific. So it's 3 herbs for IBS.
Okay.
And that was the free one, and that leads in to the paid for course. So what happens is when people go through the online the course, at the end of that they then get an upsell of, if you sign up for this, if you've enjoyed learning about did you know I've got a follow-on course which goes into more detail of, and it sort of gives all the details, and if you sign up today you get it for a reduced price. So they get that at the end of the free course, so that it's
so the upscale would be about you don't just learn about these herbs, you also learn about tips for lifestyle, like the whole shebang. Part of the deal to help with IBS and other things.
So I've got examples on.
Okay. That's that's a very good example, thanks, because it's difficult to pick topics. As you say, it's difficult to choose simple versus like, what do you charge for, what's simple enough that
Yes. And I have to say, I did the training. There was some really good training on Teachable. Now I think you actually have to be signed up to Teachable to be able to access it, which is, so that's why I've not put it in the resources there. But if you do want to sign up to Teachable, part of their like online training that they have, which is available to everyone, is about how you choose topics and what to look out for, and different ways that you can go about choosing topics and different things that you can try. And I have to say it was very, very good, and I found it very helpful. So if you are thinking of going that way, I do recommend that one. But obviously, unfortunately, I can't link to it because it's within.
Fair enough. But it would a general rule of thumb maybe be then, like, anything you can find on a blog is sort of free information, but if they want to know the tips and techniques that you would give out, that's part of your craft.
Definitely. And what I found is, mostly because I was doing a lot of blogs at one time. This was a few years ago. And then I just completely got out of the habit of doing it. And then when I'm at the place now where I'm sort of thinking, oh, maybe I might do some again. What I found was pretty much all of the topics that I wanted to that I would probably have covered in a blog, I just create a course for. And that way, really the same. Okay, yes, people, I can create it as a free course. It's really easy. And then I can get people to, buy different things and upsell through it. I know you can do that with blogs by affiliate links and all those kinds of things, but yeah, I just found that's what I ended up doing, is that I would create a free course for that subject and then do a lead on into one of my paid for courses. So yeah, because I've got so many, I've got 20, I just counted today, I've got 24. Not all of those are active and out, and some of them are drafts because I'm working on different things, but yeah, I've got a good 15 probably that are actually open and out there.
Yeah, it's tough to choose focus on topics because we know so much and we want to share all of it, kind of thing. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the advice. Really appreciate
it. I found a really good website. I don't know if this is helpful for anybody about choosing a topic.
Yeah.
And it's called Ask the Public. And you basically, if you type in digestion or anxiety or any of those key words, it will bring up a list of the things that people are looking for advice about.
Yes, there are a few of those actually, but yes, I have used those before. I can't for the life of me think of what the other one's called. It's got a funny name. But yes, I did have a look at that, and I think it's a bit more difficult with herbal medicine because people just don't have the basic knowledge. So when somebody asks a question, like they might, I think if somebody's putting in, what supplement do I take for arthritis, they just don't have the knowledge to be able to ask a herbal medicine question. And I think that's just, the way that herbal medicine is, sadly, that, people, it's not necessarily the first thing that people think of. So if someone's searching what is an alternative remedy for arthritis, I'm not completely sure the herbal medicine would come up in that search. I think you'd find, supplements and those kinds of things on there. But
a general question about Teachable, Laura?
Oh, yes.
So I had a look at it today. Previously, and this is going back about 4 years now, I looked at another platform called Thinkific, and ended up going down a whole rabbit hole of creating video and all. And in the end, I just thought, this is so horrible, I can't begin to go down that route. So that was a sort of initial experience of that, and coming sort of full circle now, having learned quite a lot in that time, and looking at Teachable, and it seems like a similar sort of setup. I'm just wondering, have you used other platforms yourself?
Yes, I have tried a few other ones. Now this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, so that I know things change so quickly in that kind of field, which is why I definitely recommend this link that I've put on their 10 e-learning platforms review, because that's really useful of what's out there now and comparing them and that kind of thing. You do need to be careful with certain platforms will hold the rights to your writing, and you need to be really, really careful that you don't get stuck, and they basically own everything that you put on there, and some of them have that. So just be a bit wary of what they're going to do with the information that you then put on there, and how safe is that, and when people are putting, how is the money, how is that involved with some of these platforms is a little bit, questionable. So yes, there are, and I've tried some free ones, I've tried different kinds, I've tried ones that were mostly about sort of teaching platforms that you don't hold information on. Then I tried ones that were the opposite, that mainly were just holding the information, and then there was sort of a little bit of student interaction. So I've tried quite a few different ones before I then moved on to Teachable, which it was a bit of a I can't even remember now why it was that I went across Teachable. I did one of their free, like they did like a free webinar where it was, you know, they sort of talked all about what it was and how you could use it. So I signed up to that and I really liked it. I really did like what it was. And then they did like, oh, if you sign up with us for 3 months you get it half price or something like that. So I thought, oh well, I may as well give it a go and see what I can do in 3 months. And then I didn't really look back from that. I mean, I really like it as a platform, but yes, I have tried quite a few. I would say probably 4 or 5 other ones before I got to Teachable. Yeah, so I've tried a few.
Before you can sort of start inputting your draft and playing around with things, does it allow you that option to sort of have a go at it and see how it resonates with you and how if you feel it's going to work with you, or do you have to sign up for that before you can sort of experiment within the platform?
So in Teachable, they actually have this thing now, and they didn't used to have this. This is new. That if you sign up to them, you get it free for a month, basically to try it out and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you just cancel it off. And there's like a training video on how to do it with the free. So it's not like a free version where you don't get all of the, you know, some of the things aren't available. It is the full proper version, free for a month, so you can have a bit of a play with it. So yeah, feel free to have a look at that. I've also actually, if you have a look at or see me on YouTube, or you can link to it through my website, I actually have a video that I've created on how to use Teachable, and it's for my students when they first sign up to Teachable and how you use it and what the different things mean. But feel free to have a look at that. I mean, I know it's looking at it from maybe the inside of it, if you like, rather than the coding-y bit, but feel free to have a look at that video if it's helpful. For you to get an idea of what Teachable looks like in that, as a student, in that way.
Do you find that their customer services is quite helpful if you do it as a learner when you just get into grasp with the platform, that they're quite helpful at getting back to you?
Yes, they've been very good. I was setting something up and I couldn't work out for the life of me why it wasn't linking to something else, and I realized that I'd put the thing in the wrong box. And they very helpfully said, I think you put the thing in the wrong box. But no, they were lovely about it. They're very nice. They're very nice people. But yes.
Well, it's good to know, because sometimes some of these paid things and you sign up for things and then you think, oh God, you know, I'm really just trying to do this. I just need an easy solution. And you find yourself going through Facebook groups trying to ask various questions.
Yeah.
But it's because their customer services is not very that was one of the reasons why I just moved away from Thinkific in the end, because I just wasn't getting the help that I needed to. Because there is a lot, isn't there, within setting up a course? There's a lot.
Yeah, you do. I mean, with any platform, whether it be Moodle, you know, whether it be basic any of the platforms, there's, you know, you're going to have to learn how to set it up and how to use it. I don't think any of them, you know, are so self-explanatory that any old person can just walk up and create something within 10 minutes or something. You know, it's just not possible. But that's why I wanted to create. I'm creating a course at the moment for herbalists and therapists, to take them step by step in how to create their own online course. Part of that will show Teachable as an option, but there will be other options as well, because I realize that that's not what everyone wants to use. So there will be different things within that. But obviously I do like Teachable, and that's why I use it, and obviously why I talk about it. But yes, I have tried other things, and it's not the cheapest thing either. I think it's about £30 a month, I think. So, you know, you've got to have made at least that from your online courses to cover the cost of it. But yeah, but it is an easy thing to use, and they have very good training. Their online training is very, very good, and they are very good with the support as well.
So that's really good to know from a personal recommendation, because everybody's got an opinion, haven't they, about I use this one, and sometimes it's nice to hear from people that are actually doing it in real time and from your profession, making money from it as well. So that's probably saved me quite a lot of time and research through having to upload a course to one thing, find it doesn't work, and then have to find another platform. That's quite defeating when you've got other things to do.
Yeah, it's I don't want to seem like I only talk about Teachable. It's really not, because I don't think that the other platforms are good. There are pros and cons with everything. Teachable is the more expensive option, and for some people it probably won't be appropriate, and they might just want to create something where they write just in a Word document, and they just write the course, put in a couple of nice pictures, make it into a PDF document and send it out via email. That's what I did for years. And, I got people coming back. It doesn't have to be something fancy with, jazzy videos and all the rest of it. Yes, there is a market for that, certainly, as well. But I think there needs to be a balance as well, because there's definitely a market for people who don't want to do the online part as well. Definitely. So now I have both. I have it so that they can have it as a PDF document if they want, for the people who want to print it. And I have plenty of those people who want to print it. So yeah, obviously they can't print the video, but usually people are okay about that. They're okay about just watching a couple of videos and printing the rest. That's fine.
Laura.
Laura, I really appreciate all this. It's super
helpful. Hi, Roses. Yes, sorry, I can see your hand up.
Hey, thanks so much for all this. It's really, really helpful. I have so many questions, but I'll just try and prioritise. How essential is a social media presence for finding students? Because I'd love to avoid being on things like Facebook if I can, but I don't know how realistic that is.
Hang on a second. Computer is just having a fit. So I think it really depends on where you want to get your students from. I don't think you need to be restricted. If you don't like social media, then don't use it. There will be plenty of other people that don't use it as well, and that is your target group. So what do those people use instead? Do you want to write an article in a magazine about the courses that you're running? Do you want to I don't think you need to be constrained by social media. And to be honest, I have to say the amount that I sell through social media is minimal. Social media is great when you're building brand and you're showing, yes, it raises people's awareness of heaven, wellness, and all those kinds of things. But I don't think it's fantastic for sales. And certainly for me, I might get one or two from social media posts, but I certainly don't get anything really more than that. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to use it whatever way you want to do it. And actually, something that I did at the very beginning, and I completely was shocked by, this was at I think it was the very first event that I did after I qualified, and it was somebody else had a stall at like a country fair type show, and it was in Cardiff Castle. And so I thought, well, I haven't got anything to sell. I know I'm not allowed to sell different things. What on earth am I going to have on this stall that I've said that I'll have? So I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got? So what I did is that was my first kits that I created. So I had like different dried herbs, and it had like some beeswax, and it had some, the usual kind of thing. So it was sort of, make your own whatever. I don't know what was in it. It was so long ago. So I created these little kits. And I had a couple of boxes in the house, so I thought, I'll make a couple of those. I don't know how many I made, 20, something like that. And took them to the store. Within a couple of hours, I had sold out. I had a waiting list of like several A4 pages. So don't think that, you have to do, social media or anything like that. Go to a farmer's market, go to wherever. You don't have to be in that way at all, completely. If you've got something and you're out there talking to somebody, you can sell it. You can sell it.
Yeah, thanks. I guess it depends.
And I'm not a seller. I mean, you know that. I am not a seller at all. But so all I did was I just talked to people. I just talked to them about, people were just, just chatty. I wasn't selly, because I'm just not like that at all. So I just chatted to people and ended up with and that's actually why I ended up with such a big list of students, because that was how I grew my email list to begin with, was because of that one event. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, helpful. And I also wondered, I hear that the stats suggest that people often do not finish online courses. So I wondered how you account for that when you're designing your courses, or when you're thinking about your pricing structure, or whatever it might be, what your experience has been.
Yes. I think I find that more with the free courses. It's that old adage that people just sign up to it because they see something, they see it, they sign up to it, and then they don't complete it. It doesn't particularly bother me that much when it's a free course, because I know that there are going to be, that group of people that are going to do that. And that's fine. Maybe they'll come to it at a different time. Usually that will link them into, once they've signed up to that, they will be within my newsletter and within my sort of where I'm going to sell things. And, people might sign up to something months later. They might visit a herbalist because they've heard me talking about, I don't know, whatever it is, hogweed, I don't know. So maybe they watch a YouTube video, maybe they then go on and do something else. I don't see it that, every single person has to complete every single thing. And people have lives, they start a course and then something happens and then off they go, and oh goodness, something's...
Totally, yeah. I was thinking more in terms of pricing, to be honest, because I guess it seems like it's a huge amount of work to create any course, including an online one. And so thinking about then how many people you need, how long you need them to be paying a subscription, and at what level, I guess must take quite a lot of careful thought, particularly when generally they're not likely to finish it. Just looking at all online courses rather than herb ones specifically.
Yes, it is difficult, and it completely depends on who you're going to be marketing your course to. Who, specifically, do you have a group of people in mind? For me, I think to begin with, I didn't really think about it, and I just wanted to get basically anybody. And I think now I've got it down more so to the point where majority of the people on my courses tend to be beginners. They like to do my course and then go off and become herbalists and do other things. So and that's fine. I'm happy with that. That's what I aim a lot of my stuff at, a very, very basic beginners level. It's those first people who suddenly realize that they can drink more than just peppermint tea, and they suddenly, that door suddenly opens, and they, suddenly they've had a go and made a a cough syrup for the first time, all those kinds of things. That tends to be where my market is. So depending on what yours is going to completely depend on how much money they have, how much money they're going to spend on your course. So for my beginners courses, people often don't want to spend a massive amount of money. So my more in-depth courses, for when people have got to that stage, that's where my ones are more expensive. So I tend to have my shorter, nice little short ones that people can just try out, and it's just like a £20 course. They can just do it. It's a couple of videos, a couple of fun things, maybe a quiz, whatever it might be. La la la, £20. There we go. That's it. That's, it's just a beginner's thing. So that's why mine are cheaper in that sense. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have value. It's just that the amount of time and the amount of energy that I've put into that is £20 worth. I'm not putting anything else into that. That is very, very basic. It probably took me about an hour to create. So, if I'm charging myself at 40 or £60 an hour, I just need 3 people to buy that course, and there we go. I've covered myself. So but that's because I can write a course very, very quickly. To begin with, you're not going to be able to do that. You are going to have to put the time in and be working at a bit of a loss to begin with. So I would say start off with something small. Start off with the smaller course it's still going to take you a while to create it, but one that is not, you're not putting hundreds of hours of research into. Just something that you can sell a few of to get you going,
Sure.
rather than thinking, I've got to create one that sells for, I've got to sell 500 of these to break even.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
That's just a few people going. Anybody else? Any other questions? I think a few people have gone now. See if there's anything else on my list. It was just to ask if anybody had any other topics about course creation that they wanted me to cover. That was all. That was all on my list. I think I've covered everything else. Oh, done. Is there a course creation that has options of online or printed and sent in the post? I mean, that's sort of what I did to begin with when I had my website. I had like my sort of PDF documents, and then when someone bought it, so it was just through a PayPal button to begin with, really simple, not anything fancy. So just put that in the website. They clicked on it, and then obviously they chose whether they wanted like a kit with it. Did they want and then I would send the email to them. So in that way you could have an option for whether they wanted it online or printed. You could do that via your website itself, in that they could choose those options, and then you could have it so that, for example, if they chose the online version, it would then link them into a platform. So whatever platform you decided to use, it would then take them into that online platform. And if they've chosen printed, then you could either send it to them yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think there is a huge market for people who don't want to use online courses completely. It's huge. Somebody asked me the other day, could you send me a list of the courses in, I think it was just in the UK, that you know, are non-online, I could find two, just two. It's so small now. And one of the main ones, which was New Vitality, which is Pambol, you know, Pambol CPP, sorry. So that New Vitality course, which I recommended so many people to, which used to be like a printed one, they just turned online literally like a couple of weeks ago. They've now online only, which I can understand, you know, because of, you know, COVID and everything. They've had to do that because they can't run their like week-long workshops and that sort of thing. So I can understand why they've done it, but it's just so sad because now there really aren't those places where you can just buy you know, like a folder with, like, you know, with some nice stationery, some nice paper, and like, you know, you just can't, it's just not available, and it really annoys me. And even in the ones in the US, which like Learn Herbs and Herbal Academy, which are the two big ones, they they hardly do any printed now. Now and again they'll do like a printed thing and they send it out in the post to people, but so it's sad because I think so many people, maybe of slightly older generation, who maybe are retired, you know, don't want to be bothered with an online course, but would love to learn about, you know, all of these different herbal things. But, you know, what option do they have? It's sad. But we need to bring them back, Dawn. But it's very, this is the thing, and this is why I didn't print things to begin with, is because it's so expensive. Print is really, really expensive, and people don't want to buy it. You know, they can go out and, I mean, I can recommend them to go out and buy, you know, some of our lovely herbal books, you know, David Hoffman, you know, Vicky, and all of those people. I can recommend all of those lovely books, which probably cost them like £8. And there's no way that you could print a course for £8. You just couldn't. I mean, it would cost you probably £60 just to print it. And then you've got obviously have your time and, you know, your profit and all of those things on top of it. So it's just, yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but I would love there to be more printed things. Obviously, there's the environmental issue as well, because, you know, printing, and we don't want waste. But in the same way that if somebody was going to keep that book forever, if somebody was going to keep that folder forever because it was something that really meant something to them, maybe that's the key. I don't know. But okay. Right, I think I'm gonna end it there because we're already about an hour. So you'll get a link tomorrow, and obviously if anybody has any questions, feel free to send me an email. Right, okay, I'm stopping.